Welcome to SustainableU classes, and today I'm going to talk to you about recycling in the city of Peoria. Now, many of us wonder what the benefits of recycling are, and I'm going to tell you a couple of the benefits. One of them is that we divert trash from the landfill. Second is that we are paying it forward and making new products from those materials that we were going to landfill in the first place. Third, we are reducing our footprint on the planet Earth. So that is a great benefit. And finally, we are creating new jobs in the waste management industry and in the manufacturing industries. So those are all positives and benefits of recycling. Now let's talk landfill. In the metropolitan area, we have about 5 landfills, and they are in Glendale, Buckeye, Salt River, the city of Phoenix. And did you know that every landfill has a life expectancy of probably between 75 years to 100 years. That means that for 75 to 100 years, we are just piling trash there. So that is why we want to recycle. Now, one of the questions is, what happens to my material once it is picked up from the curbside? What we do is we currently have a contract with the city of Phoenix, and all your material will go to the North Gateway MRF, that's Material Recovery Facility. Once it gets to the facility, it is dropped on the tipping floor. That's the floor where all the trucks dump their material. And then it goes onto conveyor belts, and it goes into the facility to be sorted by staff, by hand, and with machines. So this process goes on throughout the entire day, and every single day that we collect the material from the city of Peoria. One of the items that the staff is looking for is contamination. That means that they're taking out any material that is considered trash. In the city of Peoria, we vary in our contamination rates. We have from 10% in some areas up to 47% in other areas. Now that means that whenever the material is contaminated, it may end up in the landfill, and we don't want that to happen. So the city of Peoria does have a very exciting inspection program in which we will inspect the containers to make sure that they meet the guidelines of what's acceptable in the can. I'm going to introduce you to one of our superheroes in inspections, and that's Melissa Avila, and she will talk to you about what the inspection process entails.
Hello, my name is Melissa Avila. I'm the superhero that Becky's talking about. What I do on a daily basis is I'm out in the field and I kind of look in containers, just to see what goes in there, what doesn't go in there. So basically I'll do on a daily basis, I'll go into the container, open the lid, see what stuff doesn't belong. Some of the stuff that I do see on a daily basis that doesn't belong in those containers, plastic bags. A lot of the times with the plastic bags, what I'm seeing is people are bagging their recyclables, and you don't need to bag your recyclables. You want to just place them in the container separately, just by themselves loosely. We also are seeing a lot of yard waste. I'm not sure why, maybe because I think we can recycle it, but we don't, we don't recycle that. Also, I do see some household trash, a lot of food waste, clothing, things like that. We also do see a lot of diapers, but diapers are not recyclable. We also do see HHW, which is hazardous waste. So sometimes I do come across some paint cans, things like that. Those kind of things we don't want to see in there because it could go into the truck and it actually will damage our truck, or it can catch on fire. Also, we do see electronics in there. So I'm kind of seeing sometimes like, small TV, those are things that we just cannot recycle. So when I do see those things in the container, what I'll do is I'll leave a tag depending on the item that I find. If I find plastic bags, and everything else is good, I'll mark it on the tag that I leave on the can, along with some information with a brochure that we have. It's a yes or no brochure, and it kind of gives you pictures on there on the stuff that we do not want to see in there. Also, it has the stuff on there that we do want to see in there. But I usually will leave a mark on the picture or on the tag, and it tells you exactly what I saw in your can that we don't want to see in there. I also do leave a tag for those people that are doing well in our program. So I'll leave a thank you note It's a yellow tag that you'll see on your container, and it just says good job on it. Just that way you know you're doing a good job and putting the right stuff in your recycling can. You know, thinking about recycling and why it's important. The stuff that we are recycling, like Becky mentioned, it goes to the landfill. And just to talk a little bit about what happens to those products, if you don't recycle them, glass bottles actually will sit there for about 1 million years. They won't go away, so they're pretty much there forever. Diapers, they'll stay there for about 450 years. Your plastic bottles, they'll be there for about the same, about 450 years. Plastic bags are there for about 200 to 500 years. Aluminum cans, they'll be there for about 80 to 200 years. So they'll sit there for a long time, you know, just in the dirt, not doing anything. But basically, we want you to recycle. So those things don't sit, you know, in our landfill and go into our groundwater and stuff like that. So another thing that I do see, like I said, is plastic bags. A lot of people ask, well, why can't I recycle those plastic bags? Because they go to our facility, to our MRF, to the material recovery facility, and it gets caught into our gears there. So that's a big problem. It will actually have, the employees will have to stop all the machinery, turn it off, and then those employees will have to actually go into that, to the machine and rip out, cut out every single one of those bags. It does cost money because it has to be shut down, and it takes that time for it to, you know, cool off and stuff like that before they can restart. So if you know, are wondering about those plastic bags, you know, since we can't recycle them in our program, you can take them back to any of your local grocery stores. To kind of go through a little bit more of the stuff that we do take, paper products that we do recycle is junk mail, pizza boxes, your clean pizza boxes. We don't want to see them with cheese or greasy. Also your cardboard, your milk jugs. You know, we'll make sure that they're all empty and there's no milk left in them. Also copy paper, any type of junk mail papers that you may have from your kids' schoolwork, things like that, as long as they're turned it in already. Also, we can talk a little bit about plastic bottles. We do take plastic bottles. Laundry detergent, any type of colors, natural containers like your milk jugs, water bottles, and then also those containers that are called clamshell containers, which are kind of new. Those are the ones that you would get, like your, sometimes the grapes, some type of produce, they come in those containers now. They're kind of a clear. Those you can recycle. A lot of people ask me, do I need to take off the lid? Do I, you know, leave it on? You can leave the lid on the container itself. If you place them in there by themselves, they'll just end up going through the machine gear, the little holes that are in the machine, and they won't get recycled. So just kind of leave them on the container itself. Also, we do take glass. Some people ask, do we take glass? Do we accept glass? Yes, we do. Any type of color glass, shape. The only glass we don't take is like a broken mirror or anything like that. But we do take any household items glass, which would be like your wine bottles, your jelly jars, or your pickle jars, those type of things. Some of those containers, those glass containers, do have a metal lid on them. At our facility, there is different machines that sort out those items. And with those, like pickle jars, like I said, they have that metal lid on it. If you were to place them together, it's going to go into another place where there's a magnet that would pick up our metals. And if it's together, it's going to get taken together to the metal section. So you want to make sure that you take that metal lid off and put both of those items into your recycling can, because you can still recycle the metal. Talking about metals, some of the other metals that we do take are soda cans, your vegetable cans, soup cans. Foil, we also do take foil as long as it's clean and there's no food on it. Your aluminum trays that you might have taken with you when you have like a picnic or a get-together. Just as like I said, just make sure they're clean and there's no food on them. Now, to kind of go into some of the stuff that we don't want to see in your container, that would be like your compostable stuff. that you can compost them, but we don't want to see them in your recycling can, which would be like your paper towels, your fruits and veggies, any, papers, like I said, you can compost those, but those are things that we do not want to see in your recycling can. Also, like I mentioned earlier, what I do see is electronics in there. Those electronics we don't want to see in there. Call one of your stores, electronical stores, one of those places, and see where you can take them to get recycled, but do not place them in your recycling can. Also, like I said, we do see textiles in there. Textiles are your clothing, blankets, towels, things like that, shoes. We don't want to see those in the recycling can. You can take them to your local, like Goodwill, give them to somebody, at home that may be able to use them, or a family member, something like that. But we do not want to see those in the recycling can as well. Styrofoam, and that is one thing we do not take. Some of those products are like your fast food containers, egg cartons, your big blocks of styrofoam, and also like those styrofoam peanuts. We don't accept those in there at all. And then, like I mentioned, some of those plastic bags. Those plastic bags would be like your bread bags, your ice bags when you buy ice, your produce bags, and then also those grocery bags, and then those air pocket bags. So if we order things from Amazon, those air bag things that come in there, we do not want to see those in the recycling can, but you can take those back to the stores like I mentioned. Okay, since we've kind of gone, through of what it is that I see on a daily basis, on what, the stuff that I said we don't want to see in the container, things that are recyclable, we ask ourselves, how can we be more sustainable in Peoria? What I would say is learn what items are acceptable in the recycling can, kind of like what we went through right now. Recycle more items. Practice the 3 R's, the reduce, reuse, and recycle. Going into that reducing, what you want to do is try to use a little bit more of your reusable bags. A lot of that paper that you get, you can reuse it at home and make projects at home with it. Also, your textiles, you can, like your towels, if it's ripped a little bit, you can cut it up and use it as a rag at home. And then going into the reusing, we like to go to the store and buy water bottles and use those because it's a little easier to grab. But we want you to try to reuse as much as you can, and use a reusable water bottle. Use plastic containers to bring your lunch to work. Use a reusable coffee cup instead of going to get a cup every day that you're going to have to throw away in the landfill or in the trash.
Well, thank you, Melissa. That's a lot of information to keep up with. So we have a tool for you. Whenever you have a question about whether a material is recyclable or it belongs in a trash can, you can visit our Recycle Right wizard by logging on to www.peoriaaz.gov/recycle. Very easy to use. Type in the name of a product, whether it be a pickle jar, and the wizard will let you know where to place it at. So that's a great tool available on the City of Peoria website. Now that Melissa talked to you a little bit about recycling, a lot about recycling, let's talk a little bit about trash also. Did you know that the City of Peoria Solid Waste Department collects over 75,000 tons of trash every single year? Currently, our residents are recycling 16,000 tons. So that equates to about 21%. We can recycle more. We want to reach a goal of 50% recycled ratio in the City of Peoria. So put all your recyclables in a container. Cardboard is a great commodity. It will be turned into new boxes within 30 days. Cans, you will find them back at the shelf, the grocery store, within 30 days. So all this material is not being landfilled, it is being recycled, and it is a great benefit to our earth. Now, the City of Peoria Solid Waste Department also has other programs that we offer to our residents. One of them is that we do have twice a year bulk collection, and we are just introducing a pilot program to recycle organics also in specific areas. So keep a lookout for that new program. Will be coming soon. We also have 3 times a year hazardous waste collection. Did you know that the hazardous waste is not all incinerated? Some of it is recycled. Paint is recycled, batteries are recycled. A lot of this material will be recycled and will not end up in a landfill or a big hole somewhere. Now, very important that when we collect your trash and your recyclables, you make sure that the containers are 4 feet apart. That's about the length of an elbow. The reason for that is that we want to make sure that the scissors, when they come down from the truck, they open up and they're able to grab your container. If they're not able to grab the container, you might not be serviced. So please make sure that you follow those guidelines. Now, I'm sure you have a lot of questions about recycling, trash, and everything else that happens in the solid waste department. Feel free to contact the City of Peoria at our website, www.peoriaaz.gov/solid waste, or send us an email at recycle@peoriaaz.gov. Thank you very much. Send us your questions.